Good evening. I haven't posted to this account in a long time. So today I was thinking about when I wasn't identified anything. There was no, I don't know, it's like, how do I even put it? There was no experience of a high personalization, binding, emotion. Oh, there is emotion, but not identified emotion. And what I thought of was 4 words. The pain of I. The pain of I. How the concept of I brought with it a world of pain, heaviness, a cross to bear for one's whole lifetime, where previously there was no cross to bear. And I really thought about it a lot today, and the more I really thought about it, the more I really thought about the pain of I, the more relief I experienced. And wow, I just never really thought of it before. I mean, why would we when it's so second nature? It's something that we were taught. We were taught to create oneself in order to mix in the world, in order to join this tapestry of this play, a play, where, okay, now we're going to start believing in things hardcore, that there's a separate self. Helicopter. There's a separate self. And these are some of the things I thought of. I thought of associated with I. Threatened, attacked, fragile. More important than others. A victim, perpetually a victim. What else? The thoughts of the I are dominant, more important than anything else. The thoughts of the I, the emotions of the I. The way the I expresses, is allowed, quote unquote, to express in the world. And I thought about how we are taught that we should always add things to our experience. Add love. As opposed to peel back, as opposed to reduce, as opposed to remove the layers of I. my dad was talking about Eckhart Tolle, and there was I guess, according to my dad, Eckhart said that when one fully concentrates on the breath in and out, there is no room for thoughts. I mean, when one is fully concentrated and focused on in and out all the way, there you can't think, there's no room for any thought. And when I just focused on that, it was like ultimate peace and freedom. And I realized we were taught to want things outside of that. Hard to explain what I was feeling earlier when these things really hit me. But when there's nothing else, and when I can really not even try to remove the pain of I, but just look at the pain of I, holding up this pressure of holding up this thing, this character, this story, all of it, and how heavy and awful it's been. And just to be able to see that it was learned, that I was taught this. God, it was so refreshing and relieving. And I was getting a new phone today, and I was thinking about it the whole time as I was getting a new phone, and it was the most wonderful experience I've ever had getting a new phone. So, the pain of I, the pain of I, the confusion of I, the pressure of I. But there is no I that's the sort of ironies, or there's no I to have an issue with any of this, really. Talk too much about I, you just become I again. But it's a different sort of I. I becomes something else entirely once I is recognized. I stops being I. I stops being a characterization, and it starts being something to be observed and experienced, but who's experiencing it? So it's not really an experience, I guess. But there is a distance that happens once we can really step back and see I. It's completely backwards, because I is supposed to be who you are, who I am, defining us. And it's the last thing to define us. It's the very, very, very last thing, actually, to define us. And emptiness, the opposite of I, is what actually defines us. The absence of characteristics, the absence of thought and story. Really, it's story. Who you take yourself to be. the wiring of protection, protecting an experience, I guess. And it's so, when you really zoom out fully, it's so much bigger than an experience. It becomes wordless, undefinable. The pain of I, the one who's supposed to think things and feel things deeply and hurt. Imagine if so much of that was just impressed upon you and you didn't even realize it. It's all based on this myth of separation. This myth of needing things in the world and having to work for them and having to prove oneself. We were born perfect. Can't get what we already are. Perfection, love, infinite love. What could possibly be needed or added unto that? Anyway, thanks for listening.